Street art, a form of visual expression that has largely existed in the urban underground. One man's work has risen to the heights of global recognition. And with his work on display in some of the world's most famous galleries, he has become a household name. The only problem is, nobody knows his name. He's the street artist known simply as Rodney, and for over a decade he has forged a career shrouded in almost total anonymity. But tonight, for the first time ever, the veil will be lifted. With exclusive, never-before-seen interviews, we take you on a journey through the life and times of Rodney, to the moment the whole world has been waiting for. I'm Jonathan Abbott with BBTV, and tonight we present to you Rodney, Unmasked. Our search begins in Cromwell, England, standing at the site where the first known works of Rodney sufficed nearly 2 decades ago. Despite the rather desolate appearance of this industrial suburb, the site remains a hugely popular tourist destination for art fans all over the world. Year after year, tens of thousands of admirers travel here to see the work that started it all and to pay their respects to an anonymous man they know only as Rodney. But before we begin our search, many viewers wonder just how anonymous is Rodney. We were able to track down his mother, Ellen, who shared this.
Rodney? I got a son named Jerry, lives in the garage. I never heard of no Rodney, but if I do have a son named Rodney, then I've only one thing to say, it's come home, Rodney. Rodney, come home, your mama misses you, come home.
And there you have it, a man so anonymous, not even his own mother has heard of him. Though a stranger to his own family, in the eye of the public, Rodney is a luminary.
Rodney, what can I say? His use of skill and finesse and oaky undertones, it's just incredible.
While public adoration has never been in short supply for Rodney, the artist has not been without his enemies. Infamous English graffiti artist Bob has been his fiercest rival.
I first met Rodney in 1998 at a little Greasy Spoon cafe in the south side of England. I'd just come from a Moby concert. I walked up to him, just introduced myself. I was a big fan. I said, "Hey, my name's Bob. Better recognize. Nice to meet you." And he just stares at me. He doesn't give me nothing. He stares at me, and then finally he says, and he got in my head. He went straight inside my head. And that's when the war began.
Bob spent the next few years trailing Rodney like a shadow. Wherever a Rodney work would appear, a Bob piece was soon to follow. Never straying from his artistic vision, Bob traveled to the corners of the globe, adding his signature mark to each and every one of Rodney's works. His trademark was simple, a giant, crudely drawn penis with testicles.
Bob's art is simple but genius, and quite frankly, I'm dumbfounded that someone hasn't thought of it before. I've been an art historian for over 200 years, and the question that has always plagued us is, where are all the meaty wieners?
The layman says, "Oh look, Bob's at it again. He's drawing meaty wieners all over the Commonwealth." But mate, you got the wrong focus. It's not about the meaty wieners, it's about the spaces between the meaty wieners, because that is where you find the meaty genius.
We decided to take a trip to Swifton, the steel-driving port city best known for its world-famous veal pies. Swifton is also home to one of the largest and oldest collections of street art in the world. In hopes to point our investigation in the right direction, we spoke to some individuals in the local art scene.
Oh yeah, I came all the way from Appleton, Wisconsin, and I have to say, it's truly breathtaking once you see it in person.
That is an extraordinary distance to travel. And let me ask you, has it lived up to the hype?
Oh yeah, I totally agree, mister. But you haven't truly lived until you have had yourself an authentic, hand-packed Swifton veal pie.
Rodney? Of course I know Rodney. Okay, everybody knows Rodney. Doesn't mean I'm gonna tell you. You're not even in the scene. Okay, I'm in the scene. I've
I've been on study abroad for about 3 months.
It was clear what we had to do. Go undercover into the heart of the Swifton art scene. With a little help from our wardrobe department and a hidden camera, I was ready. My first acquaintance was a peculiar young artist who called himself Chad. I say peculiar because Chad pronounces his punctuation.
Rodney, eh? Question mark. I see him around from time to time. Period. We chat a bit here and there, comings and goings and whatnot, period. Or, comma. Should that have been a semicolon?
So, you just expect me to show you where Rodney is? I mean, how do I even know you're in the scene?
Of course I'm in the scene. I mean, just look at these trousers.
Those are some pretty solid trousers, mate. But you say you're in the scene, you gotta prove it.
All right then, yeah, no problem. Prove it, sure, prove it. After our near arrest, we decided to take a break from filming and enjoy the local cuisine. And this is where our report got interesting. Just as we were waiting for our veal pies to cool, we received an anonymous phone call telling us the exact location where we could find Rodney. Here's what that anonymous man had to say.
Alright, it's your boy Bob here, calling in an anonymous tip. You cunts still looking for Rodney? Well, get off your holes, mate. You're on the wrong fucking island, innit?
The tip took us all the way to the United States. It was there we found ourselves in the heart of the Bushwick, a rundown section of Brooklyn where definitely no famous artists live. We came with purpose, but it seemed the Bushwick had its own plans for this film crew. It was just as we began shooting that our camera equipment was burgled by some local hooligans. We were reduced to using the cameras in our smartphones, which were also, quite abruptly, nicked. It seemed all hope was lost, but at a local cafe our fortunes quickly turned around. We were able to acquire a full set of professional video equipment from a struggling film major in exchange for a chicken sandwich. We were back on our feet and ready to continue our search to unmask Rodney. Where's the fucking van? Well, I presume this is it. Excuse me, I've come here to see Rodney. Would he happen to be here by chance? So let me get this straight. You mean to tell me that Rodney is a lobster? With this newfound revelation, we decided to ask some of the local residents of the Bushwick for their reactions.
My daughter loves to paint. This one time, she drew a picture of an elephant standing next to a coyote. I was like, that's so crazy. I mean, almost ain't even from the same country.
Always knew he was a lobster. With those big ears and that bushy tail, hopping about the place, eating all my vegetables. A lobster. If you look a little closer into history, you'll realize that many of the most revered artists of that day were in fact lobsters or some other variety of marine crustacean. Rembrandt, Kandinsky, Henri Matisse was a well-known lobster. But the politics in France at the time and his management believed being openly lobster wouldn't be good for his career. Most people at that time wanted art from a human or some type of tall dog.
He was a caring man, a dedicated artist, and an amazing lover. We used to make love for days and days. But you know, I always had a sneaking suspicion he may be homosexual.
And what made you think Rodney was a homosexual?
Rodney? Oh dear, I thought we were talking about Morrissey. Who's Rodney?
A lobster.
A lobster. Oh dear, you must be more specific. I fucked a lot of sea creatures in my day.
And so that concludes our presentation. We would like to thank BBTV and all who made this possible. Oh, and just a quick note, our producer insists I share this with you. Shortly following our investigation, additional information came to light concerning the identity of Rodney. As it goes, Rodney is not a lobster. He just wasn't home. Good night, England.